Our God is a great God. Amen?
Amen.
And we are here to do his work. And last week we dealt with the chameleon, Mr. Farrakhan. And an individual came up to me and said, man, you know, this, that, and the other. I said, listen, greater is he that's in me that's in the world. I don't worry about what man can do to me physically. I worry about what God can do to me physically and spiritually. Right? Jesus said, don't worry about what man can do to your flesh. After they've done it, it's over with. But he said, what God can do is dangerous. Why? Because he could kill the flesh and the spirit and send it into hell. So which one is worse? I'd rather take God side. I'd rather do what God tells me. Amen? No matter what people may think, may feel, they may say, well, you know, why am I on Farrakhan? He's a national icon for the black folks. He's not for me. He may be for them, but not for me. Amen? Until you begin to be a reconciler. But I believe God is trying to reach out to him. I believe he is. Because he has a soul. And the true and living God is reaching out to him to let him know that if you repent and turn from your wicked ways, and the scripture says, and be converted, then refreshing will come from the Lord. Amen? You have a fresh life. God is seeking people to come to him. Why? Because he loved them. He loved Farrakhan as well as he loved you. And he died for him just like he died for you. Amen? Somebody got to cry for his soul. Okay, you're going to meet the real God one day and recognize that everything was false until you meet the real God. His name is Joshua, Jesus, the righteous, the Son of the living God, the first begotten of the Father. Glory to God. Amen? God is good. And all the time. Let's get going.
Farrakhan, the chameleon, the pride of elevated arrogance.
Pride of, see, you said that, pride. Say it like you want to preach it, son.
Farrakhan.
Nah, don't go crazy now.
Okay, my bad. Farrakhan, the chameleon, the pride of elevated arrogance.
It's almost like a Disney movie, right? Come on.
Daniel chapter 4, verse 18 through 37. Belshazzar, that was a dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now tell me what it means, for none of the wise men of my kingdom...
No. Start at verse 18.
Yeah, Daniel chapter 4, 18.
Okay, you start. Okay, yeah, start at verse 18 now. Yeah, no. He's right. Go ahead.
Belshazzar, that was the dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had.
Belshazzar is Daniel. All right? Come on.
Now tell me what it means. For none of the wise men of my kingdom can do so. But you can tell me because the Spirit of the Holy God is in you. Upon hearing this, Daniel, also known as Belshazzar, was overcome for a time, frightened by the meaning of the dream. Then the king said to him, Belshazzar, don't be alarmed by the dream and what it means. Belshazzar replied, I wish the events foreshadowed in the dream would happen to your enemies, my lord, and not to you. The tree you saw was growing very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for all the world to see. It had fresh green leaves and was loaded with fruit for all to eat. Wild animals lived in its shade, and birds nested in its branches. That tree, your majesty, is you. For you have grown strong and great. Your greatness reaches up to heaven, and your rule to the ends of the earth. Then you saw a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and its roots in the ground. bound with a band of iron and bronze, and surrounded by tender grass. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him live with the animals of the field for 7 periods of time. This is what the dream means, your majesty, and what the Most High has declared will happen to my lord the king. You will be driven from human society, and you will live in the fields with wild animals. You will eat grass like a cow, and you will be drenched with the dew of heaven. 7 periods of time will pass while you live this way, until you learn that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world and gives them to anyone he chooses. But the stump and the roots of the tree were left in the ground. This means that you will receive your kingdom back again when you have learned that heaven rules. King Nebuchadnezzar, please accept my advice. Stop sinning and do what is right.
Please stop sinning, Nebuchadnezzar. Come on.
Break from your wicked past.
Break from your wicked path.
And be merciful to the poor.
And be merciful to the poor.
Perhaps then you will continue to prosper.
Perhaps. Right?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But all these things did happen to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, he was talking with a man. He was taking a walk on the flat roof.
So that means he didn't listen. 12 months later, he did not listen. Amen? See, we hear the word, but are we going to listen and be obedient to the word? That's the issue. Come on, read.
12 months later, he was taking a walk on the flat roof of the royal palace in Babylon. As he looked out across the city, he said, "Look at this great city of Babylon.
Yes, sir.
By my own mighty power, I have built this."
By my own mighty power. That's got the pride pumping. By my own. No one is greater than Farrakhan, right? My own power.
Amen.
Come on.
I have built this beautiful city as my royal residence to display my majestic splendor. While these words were still in his mouth, a voice called down from heaven.
While it was still yet in his mouth, what happened?
A voice called down from heaven. "O King Nebuchadnezzar."
He said, "Oh, yes, sir. I'm going to get you now."
"This message is for you.
Yes.
You are no longer ruler of this kingdom.
No.
You will be driven from human society.
You will be driven from human society.
You will live in the fields with the wild animals.
You will live like a wild pig.
And you will eat grass like a cow.
Yes.
7 periods of time will pass.
Yes.
While you live this way until you learn that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world and gives them to anyone he chooses. That same hour, the judgment was fulfilled, and Nebuchadnezzar was driven from human society. He ate grass like a cow, and he was drenched with the dew of heaven.
Right.
He lived this way until his hair was as long as eagles.
Right.
Eagle's feathers, excuse me. And his nails were like bird's claws. After this time had passed, I, Nebuchadnezzar, looked up to heaven.
Yes.
My
Mr. Prideful looked up to heaven.
My sanity returned, and I praised and worshiped the Most High and honored the one who lives forever. His rule is everlasting, and his kingdom is eternal. All the people of the earth are nothing compared to him. He does as he pleases among the angels of heaven and among the people of the earth. No one can stop him or say to him, "What do you mean by doing these things?" When my sanity returned to me, so did my honor and glory and kingdom. My advisors and nobles sought me out, and I was restored as head of my kingdom with even greater honor than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and glorify and honor the King of heaven. All his acts are just and true, and he is able to humble the proud.
Stop right there. You went too far on the other side. God is good?
All the time.
See, God gave Nebuchadnezzar a fair warning like he gave everybody else. You got to be careful with elevated pride. Elevated pride not only go for Farrakhan, not go for anyone who want to make them feel that they're higher than anybody else. It could go for me as well. Amen? We have to be very careful. Elevated pride is very, very dangerous. Somebody said dangerous. Check this out. Arrogance is one. In Greek, it's a hubris. Hubris is a very powerful word. It means excessive pride. Excessive pride. Elevated pride is excessive pride. Self-confidence, pride. Not relying on nobody else but self. Christians do live that way. Amen? It is from the Greek word Hebrews, insolence. Insolence means contemptuously rude. A rude person. You all the time rude. Amen? A rude behavior. Saying rude things to hurt people. You're not saying things to help people. Are you with me so far? Self-exaltation is the driving force in elevated pride. To exalt is the translation of Upus, but we're going to get there in a minute. Amen? What I'm saying to you right now is that when you start saying no one is greater or no one is wiser than me, you are speaking elevated pride. That is dangerous. Listen, this is where it becomes dangerous. Nebuchadnezzar was a Babylonian. He was not a believer in Yeshua. But God humbled him. God humbled him. He was the great king of the known world at one time, emperor. Nebuchadnezzar, in a sense. He conquered Egypt. He conquered a whole lot of land. And what happened when he was in an easy moment of his life? Pride entered in. He didn't recognize or realize that God already gave him a dream before pride entered in. See, God will warn you before pride comes in. He'll give you a fair chance. But 12 months later, after Daniel pleaded with him, you see, I don't care what kind of word you receive, if coming from me or coming from co-pastor. If you don't listen to it and honor it, then you will suffer the fall of it. It will come to your house. And you will have to learn to deal with the issues. Because you won't listen. Sometimes you have elevated pride. You don't want to listen. Because you feel you know what you're doing. Daniel, the prophet, spoke. And 12 months later, lost the memory of it and walked with pride. In this, the Babylon I have built. And this, the NOI I have built. And this, you can hear this video. And this, I have brought this back. I did this. God said, yeah, you did it. You did it. But now I'm going to do me. Let's see how we're going to do that. Right? See, we got to be very careful because God will humble anybody. I don't care what belief you're in. When God is ready, he's ready. He's a true living God. You can masquerade all you want with religion. When God is ready to do what he want to do, he's going to do it and show you that he is God. Then you're going to look and the religion that you're part of say, wait a minute, I've been here for 30 years and what's going on here? Can God say you've been fooled for 30 years? And you don't want to listen to what the prophet is telling you. Sometimes we have to listen. That God speaks and he warns and he don't do nothing before he sends his prophet and warn you. Amen. The real God. Not the shaman-like God. Made up by man imagination. The real true God. Amen? Amen? Hallelujah. Somebody said God is great. But his name is Yeshua, Jesus. It translates. Oh, we got to get to it. Okay, go ahead, my brother. I hated myself.
Elevated arrogance is dangerous pride. Elevated arrogance is the darkness that resides in the heart.
It is the darkness that resided in Lucifer's heart before he was taken from his position. It removed his splendor and gave him a darkness. That's why he became the deceiver, Satan. And that name was branded upon him. He no longer can go back to Lucifer. Why? Because he's branded as the deceiver. See, pride will remove your position. Pride will remove your character from a good character to a bad character. You got to be very careful, folks. This is not a game. Come on, my brother.
Self-exaltation is the driving force in elevated pride. To exalt is the translation of the Greek word hupso, meaning to elevate or lift up. We are creatures of our own imagination. Jesus can humble the greatest of men and angels.
Didn't Nebuchadnezzar imagine? Isn't this the great Babylon I have built? Yeah. What are you saying? Sir, it was prophesied that you were going to rule. Yes, it was prophesied that he was going to rule. That God used him as his servant. Yes. He humbled Israel because Israel did not want to listen. So God sent Nebuchadnezzar to humble Israel. That's why you have that issue with the Samaritan people. So you need to know your Bible. That's what Jesus said to her. You don't know who you worship. Why? Because Solomon's son did not want to listen to the elders in Israel, and you want to listen to the people his own age. You see, you got to be careful with people your own age. They don't. Let me get the right English. They do not know nothing. Experience teach. You don't have it, you can't teach. You can't give your opinion. How valuable that is, I don't know. Because you don't have no years to go through things to explain this is what you need to do. So you go to the elders of the church. So you can understand. You don't go to somebody your same age. They're going to think the way you think. Amen. So he listened to the people of his own stature. And guess what happened? 10 tribes split up. The 10 tribes was with one area was Israel, and then the other 12, the 2 tribes was Judah. But I'm not here to talk about that. Nebuchadnezzar was the one God used. If you read, I think it was Habakkuk. He said, I'm going to do something that if I tell you, you ain't going to want to believe. Habakkuk, right? You don't want to believe. You will not believe. But I'm going to send somebody to humble Israel. So God always sends his prophet before he does what he needs to do. Just a fair warning. Come on, my brother. Wait. You're moving too fast. Let's get back to the other one. No, the other one. There you go. Read that right there. The self-exaltation.
Self-exaltation. It is the driving force in elevated pride.
So we know now that it wasn't an ordinary dream that Nebuchadnezzar received. It was a warning from God, correct? To bring self-righteousness into its need, God did what? God cut off the most important part of the tree. The base part remained after the important part has been what? Removed. Check this out. This is what God did now. God left the stump. Because the stump is a reminder to him that if you do what is right, I'll bring you back up. It is an indicator of a lower level activity. Which means that God said, I took all the important parts so I could humble you. I brought you low to the ground so you can understand that's where I want you. You see, we don't want that. We do not desire that. Amen? Amen. We desire to still be prideful in our arrogance. Amen? Elevated arrogance is dangerous what? Pride. Come on, my brother. No. Next one. There you go.
The attributes.
Stop this for a second. Yeah, there's something I want to say. Egotism is really satanic. Do you understand what I'm saying? Satanism, satanic system is egotism, is self worship. Did you know that? No. When Nebuchadnezzar was walking, when Farrakhan was saying what he was saying in that video, no one is wiser than Farrakhan. No one is wiser than Farrakhan. No one is wiser than... He was walking in an egotistical, satanic attitude. You cannot say no one is wiser. See, when you say no one is wiser, that means that you are greater than everybody else. But I heard something else when I was listening. I heard something else. So when he was doing that, I was listening to something else. I was listening to the Prince of Darkness speaking. And people said, man, you crazy. No, I was discerning. I got discernment. When you start saying those type of words, you're not talking in your own knowledge anymore. You begin to walk in a place where you should not begin to even walk in. Caution. Some things you just don't say. You just can't say those things. I don't care who you are. Remember, we serve the living God. I don't care what denomination, what religion you are. You begin to start speaking in foolishness. God said, I will bring you down. I will teach you a lesson that you'll never forget. That's God. That's not me. That's God talking. That's how he talks. You don't care who you are. Nebuchadnezzar is a Babylonian. He's not a Jew. And he's not even saved. He's not even a Christian. Do you get what I'm saying? So that means God will humble any one of us. Amen. When we start speaking the way he spoke. Now people may not like this video, may not want to hit on this video, that's fine. But you'll learn something that if you have elevated pride, God will be able to humble you. Yes, he will. Come on, my brother. This is the chameleon Farrakhan attribute of a deceiver under control of satanic deception. This is it right here. Come on, my brother.
The attributes of a deceiver are...
What are they?
They are proud.
Uh-huh.
They are subduers.
Uh-huh.
They are humiliators, distressors, supplanters, misguided, instigators, and corrupters.
Let's do the proud first. They are what?
They are proud.
Excessive in their character, in their conduct. Right? We saw that in the video. Subduer. That's one of them?
Correct.
Yeah.
They are subduers.
Subduers, right?
Correct.
Somebody said, This is what they do. This is the character of a deceiver. To bring under mental, emotional control. See, I'm giving you the prep for what's coming next. We're going to get into some real heavy stuff coming soon. Watch out. What about the stressor? No, what?
Humiliators.
There you go. It's what now? They do what? They are dishonored. They cause painful loss of self-respect. If somebody do that to you, humiliate you, it does something to you. Right? See, a lot of that comes from cultic system. Satanic control. See, God would warn you before you're embarrassed. Yes, he will. He's a good guy. He said, don't do that. That's not wise to do. He said to have discerned, right? What you're getting ready to do, right? Seek the Lord before you do something. That's wisdom. But somebody who operating under this character, that's how they behave towards people. What is the next one?
They are distressors.
And what else?
They are supplanters.
We don't need to get into the distressor. We know what that is all about. That's something that's a no-brainer.
They are supplanters.
We know what that is. right? That's Satan working underneath. To, some of us be doing that. I plan something, and here you come alongside and you say, I got a better idea. Give it a supplant, right? Nobody said you should have a better idea. You're supposed to acknowledge the idea that was already set forth and working. We always get another idea. I mean, you want to listen to leadership. I'm not here to straighten out the church. What is the next one?
They are misguided.
They're misguided, right?
Correct.
What else?
They are instigators.
Farrakhan's an instigator. He always talking about the Jews. Right? He always talking about the Jews. He have a thing with the Jew. But I tell you what, I love the Jews. I love the Jews. Okay, Paul said, for the gospel's sake, they are enemy. But for the Father's sake, they're the beloved. So that means we still got to look in respect and honor them. Because they're still creating God's image. Right? You shouldn't call them people devils before you check your own closet. Right? You shouldn't be doing that. That's an egotistical pride. You're humiliating somebody by calling them your devil, your low life, or you're a pig. Right? That's why they call the Jews pigs, right? Okay, that's the reason they don't eat pork, right? According to them. I don't think that's the reason, but according to them. But if they go read the real text, it's in them. Because they eat camels. Most of them eat camels. Yeah, they're allowed to eat camels. Camels is the same position as the pig. You Google it. Don't listen to me. Yes, I'm telling the truth. So if they could eat camel, why they can't eat pork? It's a dietary law, right? That's the reason you're not eating pork. Or you're not eating pork because you think, I didn't mean to go there. But I went there. Amen? We serve a great God. Jesus can humble the greatest of men and angels. Can he? God is good. And all the time? Amen, amen, amen.